Have you ever noticed something strange about opening up to family? You start with the best of intentions, wanting to be honest, to feel connected, to stay close. But somehow the more you share, the more tangled everything becomes. You tell the truth to build trust. But instead of peace, you sometimes get confusion, interference, or even hurt feelings. This is a lesson many of us begin to understand more clearly after the age of 65. And it's not because our families don't love us. They do. But love, especially within families, is rarely simple. It comes bundled with expectations, strong opinions, and a swirl of emotions. And when you put everything on the table, your thoughts, plans, struggles, and private concerns, it can invite reactions you never saw coming. I used to believe that full honesty was the key to closeness, that if I told my family everything, how I was doing, what I was planning, it would prove I trusted them. It would make our bond stronger. But over the years, I discovered something quietly powerful. Not every truth needs to be spoken. Not because it's shameful or secret, but because at this stage in life, peace is worth protecting. You've earned that peace. You've earned the right to choose what to share and what to keep close. So today, I want to have a calm, respectful conversation, not a lecture, about 5 things I've learned are often better kept to yourself after age 65. Not to be sneaky, not to hide, but to be wise, to protect your emotional and mental space. If you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained or regretted opening up too much, this video is especially for you. And if you're new here, welcome. You're in good company. Elders Health Essentials is a thoughtful, kind space for seniors who want to live their later years with strength, clarity, and peace. Let's begin. 1. Your exact financial situation. Let's start with a big one. Your finances. Now I know. This goes against what many of us have been taught. Be transparent with your kids. Avoid surprises. Make sure everything is in order. That's the advice we've heard for years. I used to believe it too. I thought, if I just tell them exactly what I have, how it's arranged, and what I plan to do with it, everyone will feel more secure. But here's the quiet truth no one tells you. The moment you fully open that curtain, things start to shift, sometimes gently, sometimes drastically. Let me tell you about Martin. Martin is 81, a retired engineer, quiet and thoughtful. He spent his life budgeting, investing, and carefully preparing for retirement. He decided one day to sit down with his 2 grown sons and show them everything. Bank accounts, pension details, house deed, even a spreadsheet he had made, outlining his plans for the future. He expected appreciation, maybe even relief. What he got instead? A flood of questions. Dad, why are you still living in such a big house? Shouldn't you sell and move into assisted living before something happens? What's your plan if you need long-term care? One son even offered to move in and help manage things, just in case. None of this came from a bad place. It came from love, from concern. But slowly Martin began to feel like every decision had to go through a panel of approval. He told me once, "It's like I lost control of my own life." And it didn't stop with the big stuff. A vacation? Should you really be flying at your age? A new recliner? Seems expensive, Dad. Even a new pair of shoes? Didn't you just buy some last year? The issue wasn't that his sons didn't care. It was that they cared so loudly, so persistently, that Martin felt boxed in. And he's not alone. Sometimes when you share your financial picture, you end up inviting judgments, suggestions, or subtle pressure from people who mean well. Or, unfortunately, from people who see dollar signs instead of a person. The distant cousin who never called before now wants to visit. The grandchild who always forgot your birthday is suddenly interested in your will. Let's be clear. It's wise to have a plan, to have your documents in place, your will, power of attorney, and a trusted person in case something happens. But you do not owe anyone a detailed report of your finances, not until it's truly necessary. Privacy is not secrecy. It's a form of protection. You worked hard for your money. You made sacrifices. You managed through tough seasons no one else may even know about. And the person most qualified to decide how your money is used is still you. Share what needs to be shared, but do it on your terms and with people who will respect your boundaries, not question every purchase or turn your life into a financial debate. Protect your peace. 2. The small details of your health. Now, let's talk about something we all deal with, our health. After 65, our bodies send us more signals than they used to. A stiff knee here, a sleepless night there. Some days we wake up feeling 10 years older. That's normal. And because we love our families and they love us, it's natural to mention these things in passing. My back's been acting up. I felt a little dizzy this morning. I didn't sleep well last night. We think we're just making conversation, letting them in, keeping them in the loop. But here's something to consider. How those little comments are received. To us, it's small talk. To them, it can be a warning sign, a red flag, a reason to worry. Let me introduce you to Claire. Claire is 76, widowed, independent, and full of life. She gardens, volunteers at the library, and walks her little terrier every morning without fail. One weekend, after doing a bit too much yard work, she casually told her daughter over coffee, "My shoulders are a little sore today." That one sentence, it changed the dynamic. Her daughter panicked. She booked Claire a physical therapy appointment, started calling twice a day, suggested hiring a helper for the house. Claire was caught off guard. She appreciated the love, but suddenly she felt managed, like she'd gone from mother to patient in a heartbeat. Over time, her daughter began offering constant advice. "Maybe don't lift that. Are you sure it's safe to drive at night?" And Claire, who'd spent her life being capable and strong, started to feel like she needed permission just to live normally. All from one offhand comment about a sore shoulder. Here's the lesson. Not every health update needs to be shared, especially when it's minor or passing. If you're dealing with something serious, of course, speak up. Your family deserves to know when real support is needed. But every ache, every restless night, every little dizzy spell, sharing it may quietly shift how your family sees you. And once they start to see you as fragile or in decline, it's hard to undo. You might feel fine, but to them, it begins to sound like you're falling apart. That can lead to unwanted interference, hovering, even decision-making that gets taken out of your hands. So here's a gentle suggestion. Choose your moments, speak up when it counts, but don't feel like you owe everyone a daily report, because your strength is real, your independence is valuable, and your health is not just a list of symptoms, it's your whole way of being. Because when we speak our regrets out loud, especially to our children or grandchildren, it can do more than just unburden us. It can unknowingly burden them, so what feels like honest reflection to us might feel like guilt or pressure to them. You might say something as simple as, "I wish I had traveled more when I was younger," and suddenly your daughter feels bad for not planning more trips with you. Or you mention, "I should have spent more time with your brother," and now your son wonders if he missed something important in your relationship. Regret has a way of rippling outward, even when we don't intend it to. It can plant seeds of sadness or self-doubt in others. And here's the thing, most of the time, when we speak regrets aloud, we're not really asking for advice or help. We're simply remembering, processing, feeling. So let yourself feel. Let yourself remember. Write it down. Talk it over with a trusted friend or therapist if you need to. But when it comes to sharing with your family, especially the next generation, ask yourself, will this help them? Or will it weigh on them? You see, your loved ones don't want to imagine you as someone who's still aching over the past. They want to see you as whole, as someone who's made peace with the life they've lived. And that doesn't mean pretending everything was perfect. It means choosing which memories deserve a voice and which ones deserve quiet acceptance. You are not your regrets. You are the person who survived them, who learned from them, who still wakes up every day with something to give. So share the lessons, not the weight. Pass on the wisdom, not the sadness. That's a gift only you can offer. And now, the final and perhaps most personal thing I believe is worth keeping quietly to yourself. Your deepest fears. We all have them. About aging, about being alone, about what's next. And those fears are valid. They are human. But there's a fine line between honesty and handing our emotional burdens to people who might not be ready or equipped to carry them. Telling your child, I'm scared of dying, or I worry I'll be forgotten, may open the door to a tender conversation, but it may also fill them with helplessness or guilt, especially if they're already juggling their own responsibilities, stress, or silent worries about your well-being. You can be honest without being heavy. You can say, sometimes I feel uncertain, or this stage of life is teaching me new things, without dropping the full weight of your fears on someone else's shoulders. Because your children love you, and love makes people want to fix things. But some things, aging, mortality, loneliness, can't be fixed. They can only be lived through. And that's what you've been doing all along. You've lived through joy and loss, through change and challenge. You've learned how to sit with the unknown and still find beauty, still find hope, still find meaning. So protect your peace. Choose your words with care, not out of secrecy, but out of self-respect, not out of distance, but out of wisdom. You don't need to explain your whole heart to be close. Sometimes the deepest connection comes from simply being present, calm, strong, quietly yourself. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to breathe. You've earned your peace. And here in this space, you're never alone. If you found comfort in this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it today. This is Elders Health Essentials, where we honor your journey with honesty, kindness, and strength. Until next time, take care, and be well. You've lived in your body long enough to know what's serious and what isn't. You know when something is just part of aging, and when it's something more. You've earned the right to trust that inner wisdom. You don't need to validate every cough or cramp with someone else's opinion. But there's another side to this too. Your emotional space. When we constantly talk about small health issues, our lives can start to feel smaller, as if everything is about what hurts, what's wrong, or what's breaking down. But that's not your whole story. You are more than your aches and pains. You are wisdom. You are joy. You are routines, hobbies, quiet victories, and lived experience. Don't let small discomforts dominate your narrative. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean suffer in silence or bottle things up. Always talk to your doctor. Keep track of symptoms. Care for yourself with awareness and intention. But when it comes to family, be thoughtful. Ask yourself, am I sharing this to feel closer? Or am I unintentionally giving away my independence? Because here's the truth. Peace in your later years doesn't come from having everyone worry about you. It comes from knowing what matters and when to speak. That's not denial. That's dignity. Let's talk about another secret to emotional peace: staying out of family conflict. At this age, we've all seen our share of drama. Children growing apart, siblings fighting over money, in-laws misunderstanding each other, old grudges resurfacing. And as the elder in the family, you may feel the pull to step in, to help, to offer advice. But here's a lesson that comes only with time. The more you say, the more risk you take. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Let me tell you about Miriam. She's 80 now, sharp, kind, the type of woman people naturally turn to for advice. One afternoon, while visiting her daughter, she gently suggested that her grandson, just 5 years old, could start tidying up his toys. No judgment, just a soft, loving suggestion. But her daughter took it hard. She grew quiet. The calls became less frequent. The invitations stopped. And just like that, a single sentence created a distance that never fully healed. Why? Because people don't always hear your words. They hear through their emotions. What feels like support to you might sound like criticism to them. You try to help two adult children resolve a disagreement, and suddenly both feel like you're taking sides. You mention a concern about parenting, and your son pulls away. You point out that someone often borrows money, and now you're the one seen as stirring the pot. Even the gentlest words can linger, and not always in the way you intended. So here's the truth I live by. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You can love your family without being in the middle of every fight. You can be present without being pulled in. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "I trust you to work it out," or "I'm here if you need me, but I won't take sides." Then, let go. Let them grow. Let them learn. Peace doesn't come from fixing every conflict. It comes from protecting your own emotional balance, from being the calm in the storm, the steady hand that doesn't get caught in the fire. Now let's talk about something even quieter than drama, but often heavier than any argument: regrets. We all have them. Moments we missed, dreams we set aside, words we didn't say. And sometimes we speak those regrets aloud. To our children, our grandchildren, even in passing conversation. But here's something to think about. What feels like reflection to you might sound like rejection to them. Let me tell you about Norma. She's 79, a retired school teacher who raised 4 children and cared for her ailing husband. One day, while walking with her youngest daughter, she softly said, "Sometimes I wish I hadn't let go of my dream to travel when I was young." It wasn't meant to hurt, just a passing thought. But her daughter took it personally. Later, she admitted, it felt like her mom was saying the life they built together wasn't enough, that maybe the sacrifices hadn't been worth it. That's the thing about regrets. They're sacred. They're personal. And when shared too openly, they can unintentionally hurt the people we love most. When you say, "I wish I had worked longer," your child might hear, "You weren't enough." When you say, "I should have moved away," they might feel like their hometown, their memories, were never truly yours. So instead of saying, "I wish I had," try saying, "I've learned a lot from the life I've lived." That small shift honors your journey without casting a shadow over theirs. Your regrets are real. Your feelings are valid. But sometimes The most peaceful way to live with them is quietly, privately, with grace. And now, one final truth: your financial legacy. We've all heard the advice: make your will, be clear, avoid surprises. And yes, having a legal, well-documented plan is essential. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. Sharing too many details too early can create more harm than good. Take Edna. She's 83, a retired nurse. After years of saving and planning, she decided to tell her 3 children exactly what they'd each receive. At first it seemed wise, but then her son started suggesting how to sell the house. Now, her daughter questioned why her share was smaller, and her youngest grew distant, uncomfortable with the conversation altogether. Edna told me, I felt like they started seeing the inheritance, not me. That's the danger. Even with the best intentions, too much transparency can lead to subtle competition, resentment, and pressure. You don't need to justify your choices. You don't owe anyone a preview of your will. Your legacy, Sue, is more than numbers. It's the love you gave, the lessons you taught, the example you lived. Protecting your peace, your freedom, is not selfish. It's wise. Let me leave you with this. You've spent a lifetime giving. Now, it's time to guard something else: your peace. It's not a luxury at this age. It's a necessity. And sometimes, protecting your peace means holding back, not out of fear, but out of strength. Ask yourself, what truths are worth sharing, and what truths are better held sacred? If this message speaks to you, let us know in the comments. What's one thing you're choosing to keep just for yourself? Starting today, we read every word, and your story might help someone else find clarity too. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of wise, thoughtful souls who know that peace isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you protect, one quiet choice at a time. Until next time, take care of your heart, take care of your peace, and never forget, you've earned it.